Good morning, I'm Joe Rizzo from the Loudon Museum, and I am here with Anne-Marie Paquette with the Mosby Heritage Area. And where we are right now is the Glenn Fittich House, commonly referred to as Harrison Hall, for the time period that we're going to be discussing right now, which is 1861, the first year of the Civil War. As a heads up, this is private property, so don't do what we're doing right now, but definitely come visit it. There is a Civil War Charles marker on the sidewalk for it. And this house has a lot of interesting Civil War history to it, both from a civilian and a soldier standpoint. But the Miles family who currently own it, they've been a big friend to the Loudon Museum over the last year. And they also let us every year for hauntings use it October. And the reason why we use this for our haunting tours in October is because of some of the stories that come from the fall of 1861, where Loudon County's largest battle takes place not too far away at all from here at the Battle of Ball's Bluff, just a bit about northeast of where we are right now.
That's right. So of course, during that battle, we have federal forces that are just trying to investigate, do a reconnaissance, what is going on this side of the Potomac River. And through a series of errors, they find themselves really pinned up against the Potomac River with too few boats to get back across. It's really quite a stunning victory for Southern forces, both Mississippians and Virginians that are here fighting. But there are a large number of federal troops that ended up pushed back into the Potomac River and even drowning. Now, much of that action was apparently viewable from the top story of Harrison Hall. And there's a young woman by the name of Mary who is here visiting her cousins, the Harrisons, and she writes about not only experiencing some of the battle, but visiting the battlefield only a few days later in late October of 1861. And she says that she sees body parts, arms just kind of laying there in the dirt, and this experience is a formative memory of hers. She's only, I think, a teenager at this time.
Yeah, and you make a great point that armies don't disappear, neither do wounded after battles. And as I mentioned a minute ago, this is the largest battle that takes place in Loudon County. And it's a shocking battle for the residents of Leesburg who have never seen anything remotely like this. And some of the wounded, as Andrea mentioned, she mentioned Mississippi units. The 18th Mississippi in particular has a Colonel, E.R. Burt, who was wounded at the Battle of Ball's Bluff, and he is brought here to Harrison Hall. And he spends several days trying to recover, eventually succumbs from those wounds though, and he dies in one of the upstairs rooms here at Harrison Hall. A reminder that it's not just the battles during the hours they're fought, it's also what civilians cope with once they're concluded.
That's right. So Erasmus Burt, his 18th Mississippians are still here after the Battle of Ball's Bluff. So we have the 18th Mississippi and the 17th Mississippi who are actually going to winter here in Leesburg. So we've got many of them are going to winter up at Morven Park north of town, and then other regiments are going to be south of town at Oatlands, also wintering over. So we see in the winter time, not only are our civilians dealing with wounded troops, but they also find themselves as a military encampment, and in some ways kind of as a college town for a little while here too. A lot of these soldiers are younger, so we see droves of young men coming into town, flirting with some of the ladies.
Not a lot of social distancing going on.
Not a lot of social distancing, despite the large crinolines of the era. But of course, Harrison Hall had already been here for quite some time before 1861 as well. Can you remind us when the earliest portion was built?
Yeah, so in the 1760s, the Norris brothers built this, really one of their first official business construction job. As you're looking to your left, the first part of this house being built, and then the add-on into the 1800s. So it's very similar to what you see now, but it's an expansive property. It does go back. There's a carriage house, offices right now. It is for sale currently, so if you can spare a few million, this could be ours as well. But it's very similar to the house that you'll see here. And that's probably one reason why that when the armies come in force here, particularly the Army of Northern Virginia for the Confederacy in 1862, some of the key generals for the Confederacy will use this house for a meeting.
Join us again here in a couple of minutes and we'll continue that story into what happened here in September of 1862.